Hey guys, and down here this is going to be my chapter review to One Piece 939 and Old Leopard's Claws Are Always Sharp. Now if I'm speaking a little bit quietly, it's because it's 1 or quarter past 1 a.m. and I thought I really want to get this chapter recorded at the least, so it might come out still Sunday afternoon or something like that, but I'm gonna get it recorded now so that I definitely do the My Hero Academia one and I can upload them both at the same time tomorrow. Yes, those are boxes in the back. They're there to dry. Okay, so good chapter. I really enjoyed it. Here we go. First, we get Zoro shocked at the fact that Komurasaki is Momonosuke's sister. She, however, is glad that she's found someone who's an ally to Momonosuke, to her brother, whilst also quickly asking if Zoro is actually after Momonosuke's head, which he's not, so great on her part, but surely he wouldn't admit it even if he was. Just a thing for her to consider. Anywho, Zoro is filled in on the fact that Momo had been shipped away into the future 20 years into the future alongside his retainers, whilst Komurasaki, or Hiyori as I think it's now right to refer to her as, was kept in the time period from 20 years ago. And she also tells us that Otoko is her friend and knows about her past and everything, even though she's a small child. And I was like, was it really wise to have this child out of all the other children know everything about your past, considering she seems to not be able to shut her mouth? I mean, like, it seems a little harsh, but it's also very true. So we find out that Hiyori herself wasn't sent to the future as a fail-safe. If Momonosuke were to die in the future, at least there was a chance that in the current time, so 20 years ago, or that the past time, that she would live, and vice versa. If she died in the past, then Momonosuke would be the failsafe in the future. So she tells us that she'd been taken care of by another retainer, the same retainer that we found in Udon prison with Luffy and Old Man Hyogoro, whose name is Kawamatsu. And we're also told that he is a kappa, something I called out in my review for chapters 935 to 6, and I said that the library of Oharagai, whose chapter analyses once again are awesome. You should definitely go check them out if you don't. They're really, really in-depth, really good. But he said that that Kawamatsu might be an Ottomink, which could still possibly be true, but in this chapter, Hiyori tells us that Kawamatsu is a kappa, or at least refers to himself as a kappa, and seems to have pride in that. So I'm going to stick with the fact that he might be a kappa, seeing as Hiyori has said it as well, and the fact that his laugh was quite literally kappa papa papa. So I'm like, the guy's got to be a kappa. He's got the whole hat thing going as well, but he could be an Ottomink for all we know, but kappa. So he did his best to look after her. This is Kawamatsu. He did his best to look after Hiyori for as long as he could to get her to smile, to eat, but they were separated when she was just 13, so that was 13 years ago from now, because she's 26 now. So the dude took care of her for 7 years. So no doubt is important to her and hopefully important to the story, because I really want, for me personally, Wano needs to showcase the skills, the power and the unity of the samurai in wanting to open the borders of Wano, in wanting to take on Odin's legacy with honor, and in wanting to dethrone Orochi. And well, Orochi's kind of the shogun. I mean, like, if this is really like old school, then the shogun is Orochi, which would be like kind of like the military leader who kind of governs the country. But then technically there should also be an emperor, unless we're beyond that point of time, and that's not really Kaido. Kaido is just kind of there in Wano. I don't think he has like a technical term, but the shogun is Orochi, who they want to kind of de-seat but not dethrone, because that would be the emperor, who we haven't. I don't think there's an emperor at this point. Anyway, we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. We then get this really, really cute reaction from Hiyori once Zoro informs her of Nekomamushi and Inuarashi coming to Wano, even though Nekomamushi isn't actually there yet. And Zoro counts up 6 of the red scabbards that he's been introduced to so far, asking about the other 3, and we're given their names yet again. Kawamatsu, we know where he is, he's the kappa. Ashura Doji, we know who and around about where he is, the fat guy that was fighting with Inuarashi, and says he won't give his sword, and he won't hand his loyalty back to the Kozuki clan. And then there's Denjiro. We've no idea where this guy is or what he's up to. Is he the guy that was kind of being Robin Hood in the pleasure district, just throwing out coins and shit like that? I'm not sure. It could be him, but we've yet to be introduced to him. Anyway, Zoro expresses his concern about the meetup location having been leaked, with their allies being captured as a result of this, and rather than worrying about it and like possibly doing something out of turn, he goes to sleep, leaving Hiyori to wonder in happiness about her brother and his retainers and her retainers that had been lost to her for 20 years. We then go back to the flower capital, the Rasetsu district, that's Rasetsu district, where would-be rebels are thrown in the same prison as Beppo and Penguin and the other guy. I don't know the two other heart pirates. I don't really know their names. And they've been beaten black and blue, but still didn't give anything away, according to Beppo at least. First, the district is called Rasetsu, the Japanese term for Rakshasa. This all comes from the Jaiminis box translation, so if you want all of this, like, usually manga stream, like, they used to do this in the past, and I thought they continued to do it, but they're really not. I mean, like, I'm not sure if it's different translators or anything, but they haven't really picked up on stuff like this for a while now, where, like, words and stuff like that, they'll explain the meanings and the roots and stuff like that. So Jaiminis box did a really good kind of info provisioning at this part. So the Japanese term for is Rasetsu, and that's the term for Rakshasa, which is a type of mythological being in Hindu mythology. So Rakshasa would be Sanskrit. And these beings in Hindu mythology, the Rakshasa, are known for their ferocity and their man-eating nature. Second, the prisoners are all imprisoned within a prisoner's showcase, which is designed to essentially show off the people inside to the general public, to put off any other would-be rebels, and it's a good way of saying, like, these guys are in here because of what they did. You should probably not follow them if you want to keep your heads. And the other thing it does, however, is it alerts every rebel, for instance Law and everyone else of importance, where their allies are being kept. So probably not the best idea. So we go back then to Udon Prison, where Luffy and Hyogoro face off against Alpaca-Man and Medillo-Man, who's an armadillo. Kawamatsu still watches, wanting to join in on the fun, but obviously he can't. The crowd berates Medillo-Man for using guns, and he actually has sea stone bullets, which are quite dangerous, though Queen knows that his men, Armadillo-Man and Alpaca-Man, sorry, it's Medillo-Man, he knows that they'll still get their asses whooped, so he kind of allows for it to take place. The key part here is we get to see Luffy showcase his advanced Kenbun Shoku no Haki, instructing Hyogoro on where to move in terms of safety and even attacking, and what to do whilst dodging sea stone bullets himself, which is quite a feat on Luffy's part. Luffy then stops short of punching Medillo-Man in the face, something which Hyogoro questions, and Luffy then just tells him really openly. He tells him about this advanced form of Haki he wants to use, where he'd be able to hit his opponent without touching him directly, something he thinks will be able to pierce Kaido's scales. Let's sidetrack a little bit. Really, I hope that's not all there is to Kaido. Like, I'll just use this advanced form of Haki to damage him. Firstly, if Luffy learns a move on the fly to damage Kaido, I mean, like, technically it's not on the fly, it's been in the works for a while, but I feel that it would cheapen Kaido, simply because there must have been way stronger opponents Kaido has faced off in the past, like, let's be real, who haven't been able to damage him. I mean, like, let's look at the guy. He's faced off against people like Shanks and stuff like that, and have they really been able to damage him? They've been able to stop him, possibly as a result of, like, maybe they've damaged his ship, his crew, or something like that, and he's had to stop because of another Yonko. But having Luffy, who's just about to learn this advanced form of Haki, if it was really able to damage Kaido to an extent, I would be quite annoyed by that, and I feel that would be bad storytelling on Oda's part. If it damaged Kaido in slightly and, like, got him a bit more, like, it just woke him up in the fight, that would be fine for me, but still a bit, I don't feel like this form of Haki should be all there is to it. If Kaido had been captured by the Marines and they attempted to execute him, which they had done, surely the Haki users would have tried all forms of Haki on him as well too. So not just regular Busto Shoku no Haki, but the admirals must have been there, Sengoku at least, or maybe even the guy before him. I think it must have been Sengoku. They would have tried all forms of Haki on the guy as well. So if Luffy finds out, this damages him, where the hell were the Marines and what were they doing, not trying this form of Haki on Kaido, seeing as it's a more advanced form of Busoshoku. Old Man Hyogoro then tells Luffy that they have an ability similar to that Luffy's describing in Wano, describing how a swordsman uses his blade to cut through steel simply because he uses this technique, becoming one with his blade. Now, for me, this was just a description of normal Busoshoku, but then he shows us a technique that he learnt from a swordsmaster in the past. using Luffy's Kenbun Shoku to kind of guide him towards Alpaca-Man. Hyogoro runs up to the guy and with his fist coated in Busa Shoku completely decks Alpaca without punching him, I think. Luffy is elated to find someone who can use this technique, while the old man says he may be able to teach Luffy this. Now what I'm confused about is that the old man Hyogoro, supposedly a proficient swordsman back in the day, an incredibly notable fighter, has no element of Kenbun Shoku or Haki, or has refused to use it. Is this because he's gotten so weak due to hunger, forced labor, age, or was he never able to do it at all? That would be completely far-fetched for me, as any notable warrior who can use Busashoku Haki at this point of the story and at the level Hyogoro was said to have been at, he should really be able to at least utilize Kenbun Shoku no Haki. So that's all I've got for this chapter. Let me know what you guys thought of this review. Let me know what you guys thought of this chapter itself. Like, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff, and I'll see you guys in a bit.